Hi, everybody. This is Joy Larcheray, and you are listening to Matured Musicians. And I have two guests today from Grieve the Astronauts Band. It is Jessica Lynn Witty and Raymond Hayden. Hi, guys.
Oh, hi.
Hey, Joy.
Hey, so I see you're in the happy hour bar. I know that place.
Yes, you do. You've been here a few times for sure.
That's true.
Frank the Cow's around here somewhere.
He's here somewhere.
All right. Well, I do want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Chad Chris from the Luscious Moss Studio, which he owns and operates. And he does have a very collaborative environment, basically set up for guitarists and drummers. But he's been doing a lot of producing the music lately. So if you have any needs, you can find him by going to Facebook, Luscious Moss Studio, or Chad Chris in Edgewood, Washington. So with that, Raymond, I'm going to have you tell us a little bit about I know your background, and you could give a little capsule of how long you've been doing this, and then how you managed to form this band, Grieve the Astronauts, when it started and where it's going.
Sure. No, I appreciate it. It's good to see you, and thanks, and hi to everybody out there. I just wanted to back up what you said real quick about Chad Quist and Luscious Moss. I've got to work with him with you, and I've got to work with him with Dissonance Theory, Jim Boudreau. And Chad is a gem to work with. He's the artist's dream because he listens and he offers suggestions, but he doesn't demand them. And great guy. So I just wanted to echo that.
Yeah, I guess let me say about that. He's in the studio as of noon. He was in the studio with Lynn working on my song, Lavender Fields.
Oh,
Nice.
yay.
Yes,
Fun.
I've seen the
Collaboration with Chris Jones.
Is that also Lynn Sorensen?
Yes.
You said Lynn. Nice. You got some talented people there working for you.
Yeah, I do. Aren't I lucky? But so do you.
know,
I've interviewed some of your people. I still have one to go. But
you're not lucky. You've worked hard, and you go through the artist struggle like we do, and you're reaping the rewards of. I mean, that's one thing. Talented artists want to work with talented artists. They also want to work with talented artists who are decent people.
Thank you.
Seriously, that's a big thing.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm ready to find out a little bit about your past, or where you're going with Grieve the Astronauts, and how you got it all started.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate the opportunity to do that. I'll give you the real quick short synopsis. And if you're more interested in learning more, anyone out there, if you go to raymondhayden.net, I have an about section and all that, and it lists damn near up to date everything that not everything, of course, that's hard, but the majority of what I've done, things, highlights and things like this. But so I got started as a musician at the age of 9 on a tour, and I was actually on a tour bus at the age of 9 playing drums. Wanted to be a drummer, ended up playing cymbals, and I wasn't a real fan of it, but literally was on a tour bus at the age of 9 for about 7 years. So I got used to traveling and doing all that, but I wasn't a keyboard player yet. I went from being a cymbal player to playing xylophone to playing brass instruments, trumpet, French horn, baritone, tuba, you name it, mellophone. I played it, whether it was in a drum and bugle corps, which is where I toured, and then also or marching band, pep band, jazz band, honor band, youth symphony, all that stuff. Yeah.
We do have some comments, Raymond.
Sure.
Andrea says, woohoo! Jessica, Raymond. Hi, Andrea. And somebody, I have to tell you, I can't see you unless you put your name in there. So I don't know who it is that are making the comment, but someone said, hi, Jessica. And someone also said, I so love these two fantastic people. And I agree.
Aww. I love all the anonymous love. It's great.
Probably.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, we love you too, you sexy person. It's probably Chris Jones.
And then I don't know if you guys have heard this guy, but his name is Rodney Landert, sorry, from the Rodsters, the Hot Rodsters band.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, he plays the violin or fiddle, and he does Charlie Daniel tributes. He's on here today, so
very cool.
Hi, Rodney.
Hey, Rodney, thanks for joining us. That's cool. There's not a whole lot of fiddle players out there.
No, and he started reasonably late in life. He's quite the guy. He plays country rock. God bless his soul.
That sounds like a lot of what Jessica Lynn does.
Yeah.
A lot of that country rock.
So,
good to
where
see
were we?
so basically, so that's what I was at. Started out in drums, went to brass instruments, did all kinds of different stuff. Graduating high school, the Marines awarded me the Marines National Award for Excellence Music,
Wow.
and wanted me to join the Marine band, and I did not want to do that, but I ended up I didn't want to play John Philip Sousa music all the time, so I ended up months prior to that, I had ended up signing up for the Army because came from a poor family, single mom, divorced when I was 15. And did not want to work at Burger King and work at I wanted to go travel. Being on a tour bus since the age of 9 gave me the bug. Excuse me. So joined the Army, got Europe guaranteed, went to basic training and all that. Then I went to Europe. And literally how I became a keyboard player, it's just if you get out there in life and just do things, don't worry about trying to make things up. Just go do things. Just get out there. That's what I was doing. I was out meeting a gal friend for pizza and beer, and she was asking questions about what I did. And I said, I'm a musician. She goes, oh, I know another musician friend. She goes, his name is James Rocket Rose. I'm like, cool. She goes, have you seen the guy walking around here in a trench coat and a guitar? I'm like, oh, you know that guy? He happened to walk by at that time. She introduced us. And just like that, he said, hey, we should go to the music center, which is right around the corner out the front of our barracks. Went down there. I rented a trumpet. He had his guitar, cranked it up. He's playing Van Halen. I'm playing Maynard Ferguson. Did not work very well, but we really, really enjoyed each other's company. So we left. As we were signing our gear in and leaving the music center, I looked over on the bulletin board, and there was a Polaroid picture of a Roland Juno 106. And I looked at him. I said, so I should, tomorrow I'll go. I got 3.5 years left in the Army over here. They know where to find me. I'm going to go to the loan. I'm going to get a bank, or I'm going to go to the bank. I'm going to get a loan. I'm going to buy that keyboard. I'm going to be a badass keyboard player. You and I are going to start a band. We're going to call it Ambition, blah, blah, blah.
And you are.
And the next morning,
exactly
thank you. The next morning I woke up. I went to the bank. I got a loan for $800. Went and bought the keyboard. James and I started the band, called it Ambition. Ended up playing all over Germany, a lot of places in Southern Europe, Germany, France, blah, blah, blah. And so that's where I got my start playing keyboards. And then fast forwarding, just when we came back to the States, lots of touring on the East Coast specifically. And then that band ended up breaking up. Every one of us had some sort of a different substance abuse and just fell apart. And came back here, been playing in bands for years in the Pacific Northwest. Fast forwarding to now, I have 9 or 10 solo albums out, playing with Grieve the Astronaut and Strangely All Right. I've been a Strangely All Right for probably 9 to 10 years. Strangely All Right has Sean Van Doblin, Ken Schaaf, Jason Barrick, Regan Lane. Regan Lane is a big-time staple of this community in that he was in a band called The Stripes years ago, who were very popular. Sean Van Doblin was also in a popular band called 8 Days Clean. So that's the other band. But then Grieve the Astronaut, that's my main project where I specifically, I write keyboard parts for Strangely All Right, but the music in Grieve the Astronaut are songs that either I have written by myself or Jessica and I have co-written.
That girl can write.
Yes, she can. And people think that she's just a lot of people out there just identify her as a country music artist.
No,
as we become better friends, Joy, you're smiling because
I know.
She does it all.
She's good at anything she tries. It doesn't matter if it's rock or whatever. I've heard her. Yes.
Well, her, and maybe your Patreon members have heard this, or maybe it's something that we've been talking about. But before she was doing the country, she's got recordings when she was in Denmark, and it sounds like Alanis Morissette.
Yeah. What kind of genre was it? I kind of forgot, guys. I'm old. I need reminders.
Back in Copenhagen, I dabbled in everything because there really wasn't country, and so that was the one thing I really wanted to do. So I just kind of tried my hand at everything else.
That's why she's here with Grieve the Astronaut. Is there? Before we go on to specifically with Grieve the Astronaut, does anyone have any questions, or is there anything in there that you want to address?
No, I don't know. This is Uncle Cuz, whoever that
Oh,
is.
Oh, what's up, Uncle Cuz?
yes.
Okay.
Uncle Cuz, Mark is he's a friend of ours. He's and I mean this sincerely, he is one of the finest male vocalists I know. I mean, he's got more range. You heard her say, "Oh yeah, more
Excellent
range."
singer.
And he's matter of fact, we'll probably be going to be getting together with him soon. And Monty Ray, who they have a band they're doing stuff together on, and he's super ambitious and trying to maneuver this thing, which we all are, and it's frustrating. That's why Joy, what you do here, that's why what you do here is powerful, because other people, whether it's Uncle Cuz or anybody else that sees this artist journey is not simple.
No.
There's ups and downs. There's the belief and lack of belief in ourselves, and funny enough, that's what Grieve I didn't plan it this way, but that's what Grieve the Astronaut is all about. It is not a band. We work very hard. It's not about trying to get a record deal or trying to do anything other than there's only. Jessica always reminds me of this. I always come back to my main reason for why I'm a musician and why this band is so important. And it's different than any other thing I do. It's because I want to make a difference. I want people out there to hear the lyrics, to hear the music, and to realize that, the pain, people making nasty comments about stuff or not, your shows aren't well attended, or someone comes up to you and tells you what they think you didn't ask it. But all this kind of stuff is if what people can get out of what we do as a band is to give those people grace, believe in ourselves more, and have that value. And honest God, that's what it's about. That's not how it started. How it started was we were having lunch with Jessica's dad and stepmom and Carol and Bob, and we were just sitting there, and I may get this kind of wrong, but we were sitting there and they were talking about because they built this beautiful house on Lake Sammamish. And he was saying, when we first moved here, there was a small house that we tore down. And
those little cottages from the 30s.
Yeah, like a little cottage. And we were talking about, did anything get lost or whatever? And her dad said, well, Carol had a little astronaut statue that went missing.
That they used for a doorstop.
They used for a little
heavy astronaut. And
oh, cute.
Yeah. They used it. And then he said, so she lost it. He goes, she's been grieving the astronaut ever since.
Oh.
And I stopped mid bite and I looked at
I bet.
I'm like,
the whole way home, we couldn't talk about anything else than how amazing a band name that was. And I would look at him and say, no more bands.
And so your violin player friend and Uncle Cousin here, any other musicians can attribute. I mean, this is what musicians do, and you as well. You hear something, you're like, my God.
Yeah.
Band name. Well, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like she said, I would stop yapping. And what it was some cases you look at something like this and you just go, oh, it's a really cool band name. Well, sometimes words are so powerful. They can hurt. I mean, that when we were growing up the nursery rhyme, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Yeah.
Opposite. Words are very powerful, both in good and bad. And the words just unlocked something in me. And within 2 weeks, I'd written every single song on the album, minus one that Calissa Knox wrote. And put it together. I had a logo working with the graphic designer, everything. And I thought, God, this is so weird. And what it was it just Grieve the Astronaut became a metaphor for me. That was because a lot of times people, like things that kids growing up, girls want to be nurses and guys, and this is stereotypical, but are teachers, and guys want to be firefighters or policemen or astronauts. Now everybody wants to do everything, but grieving, it was a metaphor. It was something that represented hope. And so many people have lost hope. And I hate to say this because we're watching Doctor Who series right now. Or should I say she is, and I'm jumping in. But it's the doctor. He's all about hope. Hope. And that's and it sounds super existential. We have fun and we do a couple covers and whatever, but the band is generated from a thought that was like wanting to reignite people, hope for people. And not everyone's going to like us, not everyone's going to hate us, but if we touch a couple people.
Well, and I remember at the time where Grieve the Astronaut came about, like that was the time where there was no space program. They were closing everything down. And that whole idea of like the dream to become an astronaut, the final frontier, go out and see the stars, like the stars, the limit, sky's the limit. That was a dream that was being put to bed at that point. And that's when you need the hope the most, is if it doesn't even look like we're going to be able to do amazing things, then we really do need that hope. And I feel like that's what a lot of Grieve the Astronaut ended up representing as well. Like, now the space race is back bigger than ever, but at the time it looked like it wasn't going to go anywhere. We're never going to get to Mars. We're never going to get back on the moon. Like, we're never going to do anything. And at that time we needed that hope, and we still need that hope in many other areas, but it was just such a perfect analogy, I think.
Well, and the first album was about that, like just hope overall. The second album, which hasn't been put out as an album yet, but it's been putting out slowly in the last year of singles, it brought it back to a singular thought, and that was with it, myself. I went through coaching during COVID and realized that as much of a positive entity as I am, I didn't really truly value myself. And now that I do, it was like, okay, the first album was about hope for everyone. The second one was about hope for myself, to remind me, because people will see me being positive online and doing whatever. And I am that person for sure, but I'm also a realist, and I know how difficult it is. So I try to challenge myself when I write and present myself. Is that these don't always start out as positive things. A lot of times they start out as challenges and things that bring me to tears and wanting to quit and wanting to give it all up.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, no, I refuse to do that. I refuse to give it time, take a breath, sleep on it, and then get up and then write. Just sit down and write about it. And Joy, you're a songwriter. It's the same. All of us. Just kind of,
yeah.
Excuse me. I do have a rather lengthy question here.
Oh,
This
sure.
is from Dublin Abbey. It's Patrick O'Donnell, and they're about ready to, they're about ready to depart for Ireland. And he says, I see GTA as a big band with a big, expansive sound. And you have to forgive me because I can't see this. In a smaller folk rock band, I tend to hear my band members' life stories in detail, and I find band family dynamics fascinating. And with GTA's decidedly large cast of characters, I'm wondering which member tends to be your band's the most mysterious or secretive person. Do you feel you know everyone from GTA really well?
That is
Patrick, you outdid yourself.
I actually know the answer to that, and I'll be able to answer it quick. But I just want to say that, number one, I'm a fan of Patrick.
Yes.
Fan. Oh yeah. Oh,
yes.
Love them. I actually learned. Well, I knew about them, but when you interviewed them,
yes,
it forced me to do a deep dive again. So yeah, you're right. I'm with him. Yeah, being in bands for years and stuff. Everyone has their different things they bring to the table. So I know who I would think the most mysterious person in the band would be. Who would you say?
You start.
You want me to start? So
I'll pass in the buck.
Thanks to my brother, my artist brother Patrick. Hello again, brother. I'm going to give. First of all, I'm going to start off with the members of the band. Speaking of, are myself, Raymond Hayden on keyboards, Jessica Lynn Witty on featured vocals because she does lead and backing. We're currently in the market for a vocalist to replace Circa, so more of an alto soprano. Our guitarist is one of the owners and founders of Seattle Songwriters in Seattle, Mr. Chris Klemecki. Drummer is Eddie Mendoza. Our bass player is Sid Onshell. The most mysterious person for me in Grieve the Astronaut, and maybe she'll disagree, but is our bass player, Sid Onshell. Sid and I became friends back in 1996 playing in a band called Bad Flowers, where we opened up for a ton of big artists in Seattle. Nazareth, Blue Oyster Cult, April Wine, The Seeds, Berlin, Starship, Flock of Seagulls, you name it. It was on and on and on. And Sid, he's always, he seems like such a straight-laced guy. And he is to a degree. He's got a heart of gold, but he is the weirdest, quirkiest, most deranged sense of humor person I know. He's also the bass player for Nightwave, who does a lot. But so for me, Patrick, it would be Sid. And as weird as he is, everybody else, as you know, all musicians are weird. The way I bring music to this band is I bring them a piano track and a vocal track. That's it. I don't tell them what I want them to play on their instruments. I let them bring their experiences and their talent to the songs, and
just evolves from there.
And I'm going to hear what Jessica says with her person as well. But that brings me to Jessica. So Jessica is not only is she mysterious, yes. Not only is she, not really. A featured vocalist, rocking in full. She is 100% our producer. There is nothing. She has a call for everything.
It's just stop.
All right.
That is a big tell. Producer. That takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of ability, and a heck of a lot of talent, Jessica. I'm so happy to hear that you got that opportunity to do. That's wonderful. Just wonderful.
Well, and I don't direct. Like, I don't tell. Like, I also have nothing to do with what they play and like how the songs evolve. But my goal is to make sure that what gets put out is to a certain quality.
Yes.
And also fits with his vision.
Yes.
She keeps me to that vision.
Perfect. I got a few other questions. I've got a few other questions. One was from Don Malador, and he was asking if Cherry Hickey was a member of your band. Didn't hear you mention his name, so I'm assuming no is the answer.
Yeah. Terry's a dear friend, and his son David Hickey, who basically runs things at the Spanish Ballroom, both great people. But no, Terry. That's David. Yeah.
Okay.
But Terry is the bass player for Darby Picnic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have a comment on. Well, somebody said, so not telling me their names. So it says, you can touch me, please. I know. I'm not touching that. She did it. Okay.
Probably.
And he
what
said,
kind of podcast you running here, Joy?
I don't know. So they love your music. And it says, for Raymond, doing instrumental music, does it give you a relaxing piece while making it? Kind of very something. It looks like ERRENYA. Not sure what that is. Very calming. Yeah. What does it mean?
Enya's a band. They do a bunch of. It's one of my favorite. This person is obviously I can tell by comments when somebody knows me, because even though I love the rock and my favorite bands, Pink Floyd, Toto, Supertramp, on and on. Plus, I love hard rock. I mean, I love a lot of that stuff. But when I relax, I listen to. I actually have a playlist, and it's called "Chill the F Out." I won't.
I need that.
I don't need.
Good idea.
Sometimes he's at 12. We need him at about 7.
But it's Enya and Uriel, and also a band called London Grammar, and it's just really chill, relaxed, pad-driven, melodic, very repetitive type of stuff. To answer the person's question,
tell him it's Jody. I can see that from here.
Oh, it's Jody.
Chit chat, Jody. There you go.
Hi, Jody.
She said to say hi. I guess she found you guys.
Yeah, we're good to see you. So whether it's instrumental piano music or it's actually Jessica and I are working on a project now, it's kind of working title called Elska, which is love, to love in Danish, but it's very Enya-like, but it won't be coming out for a while because we're working on it in our spare time. We just love to work together. But the instrumental stuff, absolutely. The instrumental piano stuff, it absolutely is therapy.
Yeah.
I don't live as much because it's not. I like the connection with the band.
And go check out his latest single, Iris, that just came out.
Yes.
Music
Let
for
your flowers grow.
Hello. Awesome.
Cool. Anyway, we have another question here for you, Jessica, about if you were going to do a duet, do you have a particular artist that you would really secretly love to be able to sing with?
Oh my God. Not secretly, like openly.
Openly. Okay. That works.
Is it a male or female?
That was my word. They didn't say that.
Is it a male or female?
Female.
Either Miranda Lambert or Dolly Parton.
Yeah, I was thinking Dolly Parton.
Dolly.
I
Oh,
would,
gosh,
I would
yeah.
love the chance to meet that woman, and
Yeah.
if I could get to sing with her, even better. But yeah, and not secretly at all. I would shout it from the rooftops.
You probably wouldn't
Amazing.
mind singing with Chris Stapleton either. Huh?
I wouldn't say no to that either. No.
No, he's something else too. Anyway,
This is long though. Like when people say like, who would you want to sing? Like, do you have an hour? Like it's of people that have either inspired you or in some way or form you just really would love to work with. Like I had the opportunity to spend a weekend almost with Jamie O'Neill, who inspired at least my vocal singing a lot. The way that she sings, I was listening to that a lot, and it formed a lot of my country sound. And I got to actually hang out with her and go on stage with her and share stage with her for a whole weekend. And it was that's one of those moments where you're like, oh,
she actually brought her up to sing, which she just said. She brought her up for her encore as well.
Yeah, it was really cool.
What about you, Joy? Cool. Who's your secret duet?
I've been doing this song. I don't know whether I give it justice or not because I have my own twist to it. But it's a song called Tornado by Little Big Town. And the two female singers, oh, yeah, that's my dream. But I would also love to be with that. And I can't think of her name right now because my brain just left me. But she's Limberlost lead singer.
We'll still play it.
Oh, she's amazing.
Oh, she's
did guest vocal appearances with Grieve the Astronaut.
At our last show,
Yes, I saw that at McMinimans, right?
Did it recently, yeah. She sang the encore with us, which was an original song that Regan Lane from Strange All Right and I wrote. And then I asked her to come out and sing the song by Talk, "Runaway to Mars." Just her on guitar and singing. It was amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing.
Joy,
huh?
Reach out to her. Crystal is she would probably be honored. She's a sweetheart. You would love not only singing with her because she's amazing, but she is such a fun hang. She's such a goofball.
She's quite an interesting person. I mean, there's a lot of depth to her. I didn't get all of it captured on the interview, but an hour is never enough time. But
exactly.
I'd love to.
That's what she said.
So, excuse me, I'm still fighting this junk. Uncle Cuz wants to know a trio cuddle session with these. Oh, he wants to have a trio cuddle session. Hey, guys.
My
show is beginning to sound an awful lot like some of the things Lynn Sorensen says.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's exactly right.
The line, nobody usually crosses. They just walk right over it.
They say he's saying you are the salt of the earth, and I agree. And then we have some. Do you guys have? That's an interesting question. I don't know who's asking it, but they want to know if you have pre-concert rituals.
Pre-concert rituals. Yes, I have to pee like every 5 minutes. I think I do. So like, that's it for me. I guess.
And I'm not trying to be funny because everyone has different for me, it's two things. It's what she said, and I like
too?
I do. Yep. I stretch. I mean, not that I'm normally sitting down or standing up behind keys, so I'm not like jumping around like a crazy person like Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, but you're moving around. But I stretch, kind of gets me warmed up a little bit. I do some neck stretches, whatever, just kind of get warmed up that way. And then same thing. I mean, I still to this day get nervous before I go on stage, and if I don't pee, it's
Well, for me, it's more of a I feel like I'll go to the bathroom. 2 minutes later, I still feel like I have to pee again and again up until showtime, and then I don't think about it
this way.
Yeah. We do have we've done.
I gotta make a comment here. Last night I went. They had a tribute. I think Stonegate was the name of the place next door to Dawson's in Tacoma, and they were having a memorial jam, and I'm not sure if it was exactly for Ty Willard, but somebody I knew from earlier times. And I got up on stage with Lynn, and Manny was going to play for me. Manny does not like to play country. He says, I don't know what to do with this. So, well, Lynn and Doug knew my music, so it didn't matter to me. So we started playing. And I needed water, so I reached over, and I had given it to Lynn because I couldn't reach it. So he handed it to me, and my hand is going like this.
Mm-hmm.
I have never had that happen before. I have no clue what was going on.
So it just hits you.
Yeah, but it was fine. I was relaxed, and Manny did great, and everybody enjoyed it. So.
Well, country music's no joke, Joy. I can tell you,
joke. We're very serious about country music.
Being attached to this one and watching different guitar players come in and come out, not a ton, but a few, and they're all, I mean, Lyle Ronglian, Taylor Enlow. These guys are like, they come in and like, Chris Jones. They're like, holy crap, this is difficult. I mean, like we're talking great guitar players that are like struggling every now and then with certain lines, like certain riffs, and not struggling like there's something wrong with their musicianship, not at all. But it's no joke.
Difficult music.
Yeah. But country music too. It's very
in general, yes. Yeah. And I think it's because all of it is recorded with all those incredible session musicians in Nashville, and that's what they do all day, every day. And they set the bar so high for the musicianship of country music and they make it very intricate. Easily for them, and everybody else is like, now I have
gosh.
Yeah,
I get that. Jessica, coming back to you, and another question for you, and I'm not sure whether it was for Raymond or for you, but it says, has there been a particular song that was really tough to write?
Yes, for you.
For me,
go ahead. I know.
For me, well, I don't know if it was particularly tough to write, but perform. So the last song that I wrote for this Grieve the Astronaut show, the show is called Signs. It's basically real simple. Follow your gut instinct. When we see things or hear things or people come into our lives or just this or that, they're not always coincidences. A lot of times they're things that are you're seeing them for maybe because something's going on in your head or whatever, and sometimes they just open up a train of thought or a realization, right? So that's what Signs. To your question, the very first song for this album was Signs. The very last song, which was probably the most important song on the album, or the singles that will be an album eventually, was called Father. And the reason it was last and why it's the most important is because if you go backwards, the Signs I had Signs in front of me my whole life. But I didn't really choose to.
Didn't trust him.
I didn't trust him. And so, but one of the biggest things why I did not value myself as an artist and why I am the person that I am now is because I realized that stemmed from, my dad, my bio dad, my stepdad not being around. But then the thing that was a surprise afterwards was realizing that, Father, the chorus is "Father, can you see me?" And "Father, can you hear me?" There's more words to that than that, but it's basically I thought it was because I don't sit down with an intention to write. I just write whatever comes out, comes out. It was also about my faith with my Father in heaven. And so it wasn't the most difficult song to write, but it's been the most difficult song to perform.
Yeah.
I took Circa gave me a lesson, and it was 90% of the lesson was us talking through the story, why it was so hard, whatever. And once that emotion was released, I was able to sing it. But it's still difficult. So I don't know if there's been a song that's been difficult to write, other than you start writing a song and you're like, well, that sounds like crap. But as far as the closest answer to that question, the hardest song to perform now, it's a lot better, but it's still, because there's musicians and there's artists. And when artists write songs, they're things that are, no matter whether it's a story about somewhere else, whatever, there's always a part of them that gets put into that. And so it becomes very personal, which means you may not be thinking about it consciously, but subconsciously in your brain, things are being triggered. So
Good. I have a song like that. Chris Jones helped me write it because there were parts of it I just couldn't get past myself. And I've been writing this song for like 3 years. And he helped me out with it and wrote the music to it because I could not figure it out. And the first time he played it and sang it back to me, what we had written together, I couldn't stop crying. I was couldn't stop crying. It just opened up a dam, and every time I hear it now, I have to get past that point of, it just grabs me.
but imagine trying to perform it yourself.
Oh no, I'm not there yet, but I did ask Chris to help me with it.
Well, see, the thing is, though, right now at this exact moment, you and I we can understand each other at a deeper level than we ever have, because how you said, oh no, that's exactly how I felt until I dug into. So when people say music is therapy and what we do is therapy,
Yes.
it is.
It is.
If we have been given a gift, no matter whether you play 4 chords or 2,000 chords, you have the ability to release, pain and tension and frustration through something other than hatred or negativity. It's a beautiful thing, and we don't always know what we're writing about.
Mm-hmm. So now the next question that I have, we do have thanks for sharing. It reminds us to cherish each and every day, be thankful for all those around you, and always be an encouragement to others. I think that person meant to say, but noted. And good advice. So I want to know how you were so busy with your own career, your own writing, and you had the honky tonk happy hour to do, and out touring, and really busting your butt out there. And even on that tour with Chris, I mean, it was, from what you've written in Patreon, it was no easy task to go from place to place and chase those gigs. So how did you manage to get yourself, and when did you manage to get yourself involved in Grieve the Astronaut? I mean, obviously you married to it. But,
I married it. I guess when did I start getting involved? I guess I was just a backing singer for a long time.
Yes.
Well, your first involvement was probably 4 or 5 years ago when you started writing the backing vocals for the first album.
Yeah, and performing them at shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of slowly got more involved. The Signs project is the first one where I really started producing. And it mainly was because it was such a big therapy session for Ray as he was writing, to make sure that when he wrote these songs, the overall thing stayed within his vision and within what it was he was trying to process and trying to put out into the world. And I guess me taking a step back from playing live shows this year also has given me more time to be a part of Grieve the Astronaut in a different way. So sometimes something's got to give, because I mean, for Ray to try and find a date around mine and Sid is very, very busy with his other projects.
Yeah,
to find a date where the two of us could actually rehearse, let alone play a show.
Oh Lord,
it was rough. So like that, I've opened up my schedule more. I'm focusing more on writing my own songs, going to Nashville and recording them, and I'll be releasing a lot more songs coming up. But and then not as much playing live. So that has kind of given me a little bit of a break, mental break as well, to just be able to focus on things that I think are fun.
I didn't know that Raymond could sing. And when I heard him start singing, I'm like, what is this? This is great.
Great voice, exactly.
When did that all start?
Actually, back in Germany in that band. But I was mostly a backing. I mean, I was learning how to play keyboard, so I was spending 6 hours a night. I'd get off work from the military.
Oh yeah,
just all the time, and I was mostly doing backing vocals. But then there was a national air disaster at Ramstein Air Force Base in Frankfurt, and or near Frankfurt, and our lead singer was a medic and was working that gig and got elbowed in the throat, so he couldn't sing anymore. So we had gigs, so all the other four of us had to pick songs that we thought we could sing, and so that's when it kind of started. I've kind of sang lead, then not, then sang lead, then not. I've never really had a lot of confidence in my singing, because I was always comparing myself to other people. And a lot of artists do that. And at the end of the day, it's like, listen, all you got to do, and this is no slight on or bettering up of the artists I'm talking about. But if you look at Tom Petty, and then you look at Freddie Mercury, two very, very different singers. Most musicians, artists probably would say, well, technically Freddie Mercury is much more refined singer, blah, 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 better singer. But you know what? Tom Petty has sold, millions of albums as well. So everybody has got their own unique voice, and we spend so much time trying to focus on being like somebody else, but all we need to do is follow people like Prince and Bono of U2 and Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, and the list goes on. Just Adele, just do what you do, and so that's what I finally started doing with Grieve the Astronaut with the help of Sirka and Jessica, and still I'm working on it. Because vocals, there's no instrument more difficult than vocals.
Oh yeah.
I also think that when you're trying to find your voice, and because we've all tried this, we're trying to sound like somebody else, right? There's I had periods where I was trying to sound like Alanis Morissette, Trisha Yearwood, Faith Hill. I loved Faith Hill. I always wanted to sound like her. And I don't. It's hard. I think it's hard when you're younger and you go in and you're like, I'm just going to be me. Well, you got to figure out what that is. You don't know what you're capable of if you don't try and do some of the other stuff that everybody else has been doing. So I think all that meandering around in other people's sounds actually helps you find your voice. But once you do, for sure, then do what you do best. And that also comes with the songs. Like Tom Petty wrote all these songs, and he presented them in the way that they needed to be presented. They're and the same for Freddie Mercury. He presented Queen the way that needed to be done. So it's also just doing what the song needs. I don't sing the same with Grieve the Astronaut as I do with my own song.
Yeah,
right? It's different. It's a different song, different project. Yeah.
I just I see the difference between the two, and I'm thinking, why isn't this girl rock? I mean, I know you're really good at country, so don't get me wrong, and I know that's where your soul and heart is. But oh my gosh, when you sing some of these songs that you've done, I'm like, oh my God, what a talent! Really.
Joey, you should. So there's a song that we do in Grieve the Astronaut that is. Thanks again, by the way, for having us. But there's a song that we do in Grieve the Astronaut, which is a cover, and it's the only cover song that we do 3 cover songs.
Live. This is
live,
not recorded.
not recorded live. And it's the other 2, actually, the lyrics of songs mean something to the overall vision of the show. I chose one song because it's my favorite song by Toto. And the band was like, well, why are we doing Hold the Line or blah, 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 or Africa or Pamela? I'm like, well, because I love those songs. I've done Hold the Line for years and Monsters in the Dark with Jessica, and people would expect it. So we do a song called White Sister by Toto. And Jessica sings the lead on that one, and it definitely took a few people by surprise because it's not Van Halen rock, but it is rock. I mean, it's flat out in your face, rock, and she kills it, obliterates it. Yeah.
Can I just say that Joseph Williams did the lead on that in the original version too?
Yeah, he
right?
did. Yeah.
He has a range. I didn't have to change the key for that song at all, and it's still high for me. So I was like, he can sing. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's fun too. It's fun to rock out. It's fun to do something different and play around with different genres. It really is.
Well, we got a couple more comments. I mean, they just keep coming in. You guys,
hi everyone.
A lot of. Hopefully, you can go back in afterwards and comment.
We'll go back and comment and stuff. Yeah.
Raha Roster said, "Keep the music playing, fun. That's all you need. Keep making. You need to keep making people smile. Amen. The artists, all of us.
I like this.
And then it says, "Hey peeps, miss y'all." And I don't know who that is, but whoever you are, we miss you too, even though we don't know your name.
Yeah, it's weird because sometimes on these video casts or podcasts, you can see who's doing the comments, and sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know who you are so we can say hi personally. I just want to real quick say that I think because you're giving us the time to talk, and one thing that's real important to both of us, besides learning how to speak, is education. And we've been taught a lot by a lot of our fellow artists by watching some of these interviews and just listening and watching live. And so there's one thing I can tell you is the reason that I chose Jessica to be the producer for this band, and also, by the way, the producer for all my solo piano music. She gets final say. That was the power I gave up. Like being a Christian, giving your dedicating your life to Christ and having faith and all that. It's the same thing with your producer. What did I just get compared to? Don't let it go to your head. I gave her final call on stuff because I trust her ear more than I trust mine. So choosing her wasn't because she's my wife. That had absolutely nothing to do with it. It had to do with two things, and that was she has the strength and ability and the talent, the knowledge to be able to be a producer, and she has the ability to communicate in a way that brings ideas and suggestions and thoughts. And perhaps we try it this way, where a lot of times musicians get, they throw out the whole ego thing out there, is because you don't take a moment to put yourself in where the other person's coming from and just have a conversation about something. Mm-hmm. So, and that, and she has an amazing ear, and like one of the most. It's really pretty. It's really pretty. She hears things that I used to argue with her about and go, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't hear that. I'm not hearing it.
And they're there. And so for me, when people compliment me on whether it's Grieve the Astronaut or like the new singles, Iris came out a couple weeks ago. Ivy, the second single from that comes out in 2 days on Wednesday. Oh, yeah. And she had final say on all of it. And on the album, about half the album, I didn't get a yes right out the gate. Half of them she come in crying, "Oh my God, I love it." The other one, she was like, you need to try this and take this. Have you thought about
yeah. Doing her job?
Yeah. So any musicians out there, if you're working with people or whatever, just always remember, man, put yourself in their position, and it's all words. Words are powerful. Just, hey, have you thought about this? No, this is really cool. Yes. You thought about, real basic stuff, but anyway. Just had an opportunity because you were asking about her being the producer. That's why she's a producer.
So the comment on here was from Jennifer and Tony. So, and also Electric Dave says hi and hello.
Yeah, awesome.
So
hanging out, guys.
So we don't have an awful lot of time. Can you believe that we've been a little over 10 minutes or so?
Wow. Yeah, time flies.
Oh my gosh. They're never long enough.
Once Jessica starts talking, you can't get her to.
But what I want to ask you now, we've had you on before, and I hope to have Jessica again because she's always coming up with something new and exciting. Excuse me.
I love to. Joy, anytime.
Okay, great. So what is coming up? You talked about Ivy. I want to make sure I get to see that. I'm the plant that's growing.
I love it.
I love that. That's beautiful, actually.
And I hate to say it, but you're probably the fertilizer, Raymond.
See, I know that if Uncle Cuz is still on here, he's thinking the same thing as I am thinking, that you just called me manure on live.
I'm laughing.
No, I didn't.
That's all right. I still love you, Joy. I'll be manure any day.
Somebody did make a comment in here and says, "You guys said the shit." I don't know who said that.
And we're out. That's perfect.
Here's me. Oh my gosh.
Is that soap?
Where is Jon Snow?
Here's the soap that you can wash your mouth with.
Oh, no, I said the bad word. Last night when I was on stage with Lynn, he said, "Were you ever a rocker when you were younger?" And I'll bet you were a rocker. And I said, "Did you say rocker or focker?" You said the bad word. I said, no, I didn't.
Both, right?
Yeah.
So that's as close as I got to the word. But go ahead. Salt my mouth. So what have you got coming up that besides Ivy coming out in 2 days now, that you would like to share with us before we go? And anything you would like to say further? I wish I could have more time to get your thoughts, but anything that you would like to tell our audience that you think would be of value before we leave. So 2 things: promote and your thoughts.
Okay.
Both of you.
Let me go first because mine's short. She'll have more to say on her side. So for me, it's this Wednesday. Ivy is released, and then on the 20th of May, the rest of the album will release. It's available on all the platforms. iTunes.
A recipe album?
The rest
The
of
rest
the
of
album.
the
Oh,
album.
the rest of the album.
Yeah, the rest of the album. And then the follow-up album to this album has already been written. Is just it won't be released for a few months. But other than that, Grieve the Astronaut, we're replacing a vocalist, and
we're working on
new
Father,
music.
and then we're also working to record that song,
A new song
Believe, with Regan.
with Regan. Yeah, the encore song we did.
What's it called?
Believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So
it's a cool song.
That's it. So what about you, Jessica Lynn Witty? What you got going on?
I have week-long marathon just came out last week, and last week, and it's another co-write with Chris Jones,
Based on a true story.
based on a true story. It was about a week in Nashville, and it's kind of embarrassing to think that we drank that much for recording, but we were young then. It was only 2020 or something.
If you
like
listen, if
that.
you listen to the lyrics, it is
2020.
spot on. I mean, when we were on the plane to Nashville, I bought Chris 2 little bottles of Woodford's, and he spilled them in his lap. You hear it in the lyrics. Every
I think I heard this story.
twice.
That's there too, and so it's fun. If you look at the lyric video, it has a lot of fun little things in there that you don't get if you just listen to the song. So, but it's the next step in the journey for the Redneck Files, Chris Jones and myself, and we are going to put out a whole EP this year at some point. So keep in touch with myself or with Chris Jones, and we'll figure that out. I also have my next single coming up is going to is called Weekend State of Mind. And it's a lot hoppier than you usually hear from me. So I'm very
It's
excited.
a really good song.
It's kind of like got a little Madonna La Isla Bonita style to it. So
Cool.
It sounds like it. Oh, and her website is jessicalynwitty.com. Our website is grievetheastronaut.com, but specifically if you want to find out about me, raymondhayden.net.
Absolutely. I put some of that stuff out there on the internet as well.
Yes,
so-
you did.
yes,
you did. Thank you.
awesome.
And also it's going to be on YouTube, and I have some listeners from overseas, so they don't often identify themselves, but I know they're on there. So
Well, Jessica Lynn Witty's from Denmark.
Yeah,
For your
Yeah.
your listeners overseas.
very international tonight.
Yes. Else can I smoke a pee?
So I've been kind of borrowing Chris. I hope you don't mind, but
Borrow away. Talented.
I couldn't think of anyone better to help me through that song, because he's had the background and he has the knowledge and he has way with words.
And he's
so-
a songwriting machine.
Oh,
He is a machine. I mean, he spits out 4 songs in the time that I can come up with a verse. That's just
Yeah, I can see that. I contacted him one day, I think, and by the next day or the following day, he'd already had it straightened out. And I'm like, wow, I want what you got.
He's one of those people that could easily be a staff writer for Sony or RCA or whatever. He could easily just sit and spit out songs all day long, and they'd be great.
We sat out back one night, Joy, with whiskey, and and Jessica had a mandolin and Chris had a acoustic guitar, and I literally just threw song ideas at him. Like, for example, I said, "Hey, write a song about a big belt buckle," and he wrote.
It ended up being called Texas Hubcap.
Oh, cool. Huh?
He was just one after the other. He was fast.
So funny. He's just
Yeah.
Now
So
maybe put it down. That's a different story.
So last words. leave us with a thought that we can ponder for a while. And I know you're both capable of thinking deeply. So I'm going to ask Jessica first and then get back to you, Raymond.
Okay, well, I'm going to take the words off of a fictional Amelia Earhart from
Cool.
Night at the Museum, played by Amy Adams. Do you know why I flew across the Atlantic? For the fun of it. Why would anybody do anything if it wasn't for the fun of it? No, I was paraphrasing. So with that thought, if it's fun, keep doing it. If it's not fun, then
Don't do it.
stop. Or find a way to get out, because life's too short. Things need to hold joy. So, see what I did there?
Ah,
Raymond, you're next.
I need help.
I like that, Jessica. Absolutely.
Yeah, he needs help.
I need help with props.
Uh-oh. What's he doing?
The doctor is in. The doctor. The doctor. Ooh, 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 ooh.
What is he?
That was Doctor Who, but that was the TARDIS that just flew
That was
by.
the
Just so you know.
So Jessica said something. I mean, what she said, it was beautiful. There's so many things that come to mind. So many things, and I don't want to sound like a negative thing. This is a positive thing. You're giving me an opportunity, so I'm going to say this. I'm looking out to all the artists out there, whether they're young or they're old or not. The only thing that matters in the world as an artist, the only thing that matters is that you are happy with what you're doing, and that you care, and that you love what you're doing. I'm not saying that you don't open it up and listen to advice from other people, not unsolicited, mean, hatred, whatever. But just, you know what? I'm not going to say the word because joy will make me so, but literally, I love people. I've got grace in my heart for people. And if they're broken and they have issues they need to work on, that I'll help. I'll walk them by hand. But you know what? When it comes to what you do, all that matters is you. Just don't give two shits about what anyone else thinks. If you have something that you want to do, it's in your mind, do it. Screw the rest. Do it. Too many years of you're giving me the opportunity to talk. Too many years of my life being a musician, I've listened to other people and I haven't listened to my heart. And just in the last year, maybe 2 years, but a year for sure, what's opened my heart up is actually taking that attitude that my coach gave me. And that's like, you just do what you want. There's no rules. There's no, you have to do it this way. You have to do it that way. You do it your way. Mm-hmm. And you have people help you along the way who you know have your vested interest and care about your vision. Right. That's all I have to say.
So we do have one last comment. It says, "You all bring me joy." Thank you.
Oh,
that's two.
We brought you joy. There she is.
Oh my God.
So Ben, one last question. I got a couple minutes here. When is Honky Tonk Happy Hour coming?
Oh, when is it coming back?
Yeah.
It is gonna come back. I need to get to a point where I feel comfortable just plugging it in and going live, where it's not this big hassle. Because I think for the biggest thing for me was it half the time we got kicked off and then working and things just changed so fast in the digital world that I need to find a way to do it that is maybe a little bit less complicated. So that's my obstacle. Yes, I am planning on bringing it back.
Right. So I miss seeing the farm animals and Crater. We know who we're talking about.
We know who we're talking about.
So guys, I really.
Oh my God, you guys are so hilarious when you start fighting them.
That little redhead lady is your neighbor too. It's a story here. They have a cow named Frank, and I fell in love with that little cow. And they got a neighbor who's a redheaded neighbor, and she came live onto their happy hour program and started kissing and loving on him, and he was just enjoying it so much. And I tried to put an end to it, and it didn't happen.
It's an ongoing feud.
And I know I got a mouth soaping next time we meet.
Yes, that's probably true.
Very true.
All right, guys. Well, you have a good rest of your week. Jessica, stay in touch with me. I want to know when you're ready.
Okay.
We'll have you on again promoting. what you're doing, and hopefully happy hour. And just a plug, I'm a patron member for two people, Chris Sager and Jessica Lynn Witty, who is my first. And there's a lot of good stuff there. So very little money, very little cost, and a lot of information. So do look that up. How do they find you?
Artists. Yeah.
How do they find you, Jessica? And Patreon?
Patreon.com/Jessica Lynn Witty, or you can just go to patreon.com and search my name, and it'll come right up. And there's different tiers. You can pay what you want. And it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you get when you're in there.
Very interesting stuff.
You get to hear every single song or video she puts out before anybody else.
Yes.
And you get to hear, in some cases,
stuff I've never put out.
Yeah, like rough, like with just her and her guitar and her vocal, rough.
Yes.
When she wrote the songs.
Which is really, that is really important. I know a lot of people like to see the finished product and the CD and all that good stuff. But you know what? When you break that down to just a guitar and your voice, that's where it happens.
Yeah.
Really.
Can be.
I love that stuff. So, guys, you have a good rest of your week. I hope you aren't strangers. I hope we can talk again, keep in touch, and bless you all.
Bless you. Thanks for watching,
likewise.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Well, that's it for my program. I am going to take a day off after Mother's Day. May 8th, there will be no show. And I do urge you to come back after that. I do have a show scheduled, a couple of them, one of them coming up at the Davanos with Jerry Batista. And I do hope you sign in and watch us. So everybody have a good rest of your week. Thank you for watching us today. Bye-bye. Let's see if I can get out of here gracefully, guys. Here we go.